What is up? Can you believe it? It is week 1 of the NFL, and we are here to do a show tonight. We got the return of the Fantasy Roulette Wheel. We're going to be doing our Forgotten Fantasy Player, which we haven't done in a while. And of course, we'll kick things off with our nonsense draft like we always do, so stay tuned.
Going for two, kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for two, sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this, multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top end. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo! This is the Armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo!
What is going on, and welcome to episode 426 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I am your host, of course, Geoff Lambert. Follow me on Twitter at Geoff Lambert77. You can find the show on YouTube and syndicated in all major podcast networks. The easiest way to find us, though, is to go to GoingFor2.com. We got links to everything. We got links to YouTube. We got links to Spotify and links to everything. So you can find it all over at GoingFor2.com. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Cearfoss. It's been a couple weeks since we had a show together, man.
And I know, but you know what? It's football season now. Like officially, we got a week of college in. The real stuff starts tomorrow. It's good times.
Absolutely, man. Some good stuff to talk about. Also joining us tonight, I think this is maybe his 4th or 5th appearance on the show. He's been on quite often. Swails of FantasyPoints. You can follow him on Twitter at Swails_24. What's up, man?
Hey guys, happy to be here. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since I was here, but we finally made it. The season is less than 24 hours away. Got major bets down. I need the games to start going so I can stop spending my money already.
Good stuff. For those that didn't catch your last appearance, give them a quick rundown of what you do over at Fantasy Points.
Yeah, so I started working for Fantasy Points last season, behind the scenes, kind of as a data charter. So I watch all of the games with a bunch of people behind the scenes as we load the data suite with all of the different numbers and things that you guys look for, data points that are convenient for your fantasy lineups, and just recently started writing some articles and stuff as well. That's more to come on that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Are you tired of long, drawn-out drafts, feeling like they never end, and it's time to level up with Fast Draft, the fastest way to draft and win real cash? These drafts take less than 5 minutes. You can knock them out on your lunch break or while standing in line at getting coffee. And right now, our exclusive offer for our listeners is use promo code GF2 and get a deposit match, 100% deposit match up to $50. Double the cash, double the action. Jump right into lightning fast drafts, dominate your opponent, and get paid all in under 5 minutes. Visit fastdraft.com. Use promo code GF2 and start drafting. All right, let's get to our opening, our first of the season here, our nonsense draft.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
All right, tonight we are drafting fictional duos you'd want as your wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 in fantasy. So fictional characters, it includes video games, it includes TV, whatever, movies, anything you want.
They have to be like a duo together. It can't just be two random people, correct?
Correct. Yeah, they have to be an actual duo for sure. Swells, you got the 101 here. What you got?
Yeah, I feel like I got the easy 101, especially from like if they're going to be wide receivers, and that's the whole point of this. I went with Han Solo and Chewbacca. They've proven to be quick enough to be able to outrun, the saber guns. Or sorry, I'm not a Star Wars guy, so I don't know what you call them. But and then a quick little Google search. Han Solo is actually reportedly like 6'1". That puts him in Jamar Chase territory in size, and then Chewbacca's like 9 foot tall. So ain't nobody stopping those jump balls.
Yeah, that was definitely on my list there. I was like 101 or 102 for sure because, Chewbacca is going to be the red zone threat for sure. Love it. Ryan, what you got for the 102?
We're going tough. We're going athletic. We're going Batman and Robin. They move, especially Robin. Just absolute acrobat out there. They're going to embarrass people lightning quick. And Batman is just going to run through and brutalize on the field.
And Batman will be the most prepared player on the field for sure.
Oh, no. He's going to be a route technician.
Yes. For sure. He's going to know all the defenses. He'll know everything for sure. I love it. Those are my top two as well. I figured those probably would go 1 and 2. So I got the 103, and I'm going to go to the video game world here. And I know when we watch the combine for the NFL, we're always saying that, it isn't all about speed. But with these two guys, it is all about speed. I'm going with Sonic and Tails. They have unbelievable speed. There's really no way that anybody's going to be able to catch them. I just hope they have some kind of good hands that can catch the football. But yeah, I think they would be unstoppable on the field for sure. All right, Swails, back to you at the 201.
I feel foolish because that was right in front of our faces with the Lions backfield, obviously. So great poll. All right, so for my 201, I am going with people who will never have injury risk, and that is Deadpool and Wolverine. They've proven that they can somewhat work together and everything, and so also I imagine with Wolverine, ball security won't be an issue, so I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
No, but team camaraderie will be way down.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I imagine George Pickens and DK Metcalf would have been with Aaron Rodgers if that would have came to fruition.
Yeah, for sure. And Wolverine's got that hard stiff arm there. You ain't gonna want to get close to him. I think he might outdo Derrick Henry in that sense. All right, Ryan, you get the 202.
I'm going with some men in the video game world who are amazing verts, are impossible to get CTE because they break bricks with their heads constantly, and that's Mario and Luigi.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely a good choice. That was also on my list as well.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, so I'm up at the 203, and y'all are taking all of the good ones here. So I'm going to go a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit off the beaten path. And, we're looking at guys that are athletic or fast or, I'm going to take two guys here that just they use magic. I'm going with Harry and Ron from Harry Potter. I just figure they can sneak some magic in there. I think we'll be all right. So, yeah, that'll be my 203 there. Harry and Ron from Harry Potter. All right, Swails, your last pick.
All right, so my last pick is a cartoon favorite while growing up. Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. I just imagine, the 2023 Dolphins, with times 5 speed. So just screen and run.
Yeah, I love it. That was on my list as well. 302, Ryan.
So we're gonna go a little mix of classes. We're going Woody and Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. Woody's lanky, athletic, looks like he has some wiggle. Buzz got that jetpack, put them boosters on people. I'm going with them.
Love it. I love it. All right. Closing us out at the 303, I'm going back to the video game world, and I'm taking Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong's pretty athletic, small, and Donkey Kong is sort of the brute red zone threat there. So I like Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong for my last pick there. All right, that wraps up the nonsense draft. Let's go ahead and get into some fantasy stuff now.
Let's get ready for Armchair Fantasy Roulette.
All right, if you've not seen this before, the way this works, I loaded up a bunch of different topics into the wheel, and we're going to spin the wheel and just see what comes up, and we'll talk about it. So let's go ahead and get our first topic on the board here.
Ooh, this new wheel design is rough for the ADD.
Yeah. All right. So right off the bat here, we got a tweet from Sleeper in asking the question, who will be the top waiver ad after week 1? So we're obviously pre-week 1 there. So we're talking guys that are a little bit lower owned, that haven't been drafted, that are going to be having a big week 1 and could potentially be the top waiver wire next week. I'll go to you first, Wells. Who do you got for this?
So I actually went for somebody who was pretty super under-owned. I went across a couple different leagues and saw he was hovering around like 13 to 15%. That would be Woody Marks. I'm really big on these ambiguous backfields, these people where you don't quite know who the starter is exactly. We do know that Mixon is not in the mix, and we know that Nick Chubb is coming back from a very serious injury and is also an aging running back who was always kind of the grinder type. So I expect the Houston Texans to potentially be top 3 in pass rate over expectation, and CJ Stroud could very well lead the league in passing attempts, and so Woody Marks could very well eat in a PPR format.
I love it, and you're leaving me scrambling here because I had Woody Marks as my guy as well. So very
Great
good.
minds.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, what about you? What do you got for your after week 1 biggest waiver wire ad?
Didn't look for his ownership percentage, but I'm going with Josh Palmer. I think he steps into that Mac Hollins role in Buffalo, but he's actually a better football player, spreads the field a little bit better. And I think a piece of that Buffalo offense is nice to have.
All right, I love it. That's a great.
He's the man beater. That's why they got him.
Yep. All right, so I had to quickly scrape together another pick here since Swails took mine, and I'll go with another rookie running back that should get some opportunity in week 1. I think his ownership has gone up a little bit over the last few days because we're still not quite sure if Devin Achan's going to play or not. But Ollie Gordon, I think, could get a good shot. Even if Achan is healthy, we've seen it before with Miami. They love that 2-headed monster running back duo, so I think Ollie Gordon still gets some work. Jalen Wright is definitely out, so Ollie Gordon slots into that number 2 role. Achan, whether he plays or not, I think Ollie Gordon could get some good run there and be a popular waiver ad next week. Yeah. All right, let's get to our next topic here. All right, this is from Ryan Linkletter on Twitter. He's talking about Chig Okonkwo. Speaking of guys that weren't drafted, he's at the 10-11% owned, but he had 6+ targets in his last 4 games last year, and there's no legit receiver in Tennessee behind Calvin Ridley. And then week 2 could be the first big tight end outing for him. He has the Rams, who are terrible against tight ends. So what do you think about Chig Okonkwo, Ryan? What are your thoughts on him being sort of a sleeper tight end if you wait on tight ends, or maybe he wasn't drafted at all in your league?
So I think it's funny because last year at this time, everybody loved him. And I think that's something we see very commonly with like semi-young tight ends. People are a year early a lot often. The opportunity's there. He has a young quarterback. Young quarterbacks tend to look for their tight end a lot. I like the upside of him. I think he's a super value. He could be somebody who could be a big waiver ad in the future if he wasn't drafted yet.
Absolutely. Where do you fall on Chig Okonkwo, Swails?
I'm tentative, but I'm excited. The biggest thing I put here in my notes in all caps was get this man running. The thing about Chig Okonkwo is he's a classic tweener tight end. He's a move tight end, somebody that you need to get moving with the quarterback, play action, get him running away from the linebackers and the safeties. A couple of quick notes from the Fantasy Points data suite. On crossing routes, on crossers, he was 10th amongst all tight ends with 2.74 yards per route run. He just, obviously didn't have a quarterback and wasn't able to run them enough. And on a corner route perspective, again, we want to get this guy running. On corner routes, he was 8th amongst tight ends with 2.54 yards per route run, with the second deepest depth amongst all tight ends. And he was running those corner routes at over 11 yards in depth. So if we can get Cam Ward some time back there, and you're right, if he can build a rapport there and you can get this guy some yak opportunities, there is a big opportunity for swing. And we've always had that tight end outside of top 25 who ends up landing a top 12. We just don't know who it is yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ryan kind of mentioned it too, that he's going into his year 3, and that's kind of when I think actually it might be year 4, but that's kind of when tight ends start to break out. Those athletic guys take a few years to get acclimated to the league. And if you look at his last 2 years, he started slow both seasons and then ended strong. If he could just find a way to start strong and end strong, he can definitely work his way up into the top 12 for sure.
There's also no real red zone threats out of that receiving group.
Absolutely.
Like, none of those wide receivers are guys who are going to beat you over the top. He's that option.
Absolutely. It's a good call.
I do want to shout out Io Manor, but he's just a late dart tag or dart throw that I really, really like.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to our next topic. All right, this is funny because we just talked about these two guys.
We did.
Basically talking about Ollie Gordon and Woody Marks here, and comparing him to Jordan Mason last year. How Jordan Mason was the hot waiver wire after week one because obviously Christian McCaffrey didn't play. Everybody wanted Jordan Mason. Ollie Gordon and Woody Marks could be those guys there. I'll go to you first here, Swails, since you brought up Woody Marks. What are your thoughts on Ollie Gordon, and which one of these two guys would you prefer?
So I believe in this one, it's a complete format perspective. So it really depends on if you're a standard, half point, full point. If you're full point, it's pretty easily Woody Marks for me. There's a chance he could take over the backfield, less potential competition for passing work in that regard. Ollie Gordon, however, would not be surprising if he kind of revives that Raheem Mostert role. He could very easily fall into the end zone for double-digit touchdowns. However, on those weeks where he doesn't get a touchdown, you could be putting him in your flex, maybe RB2 spot. He could get you 4 or 5 points, where Woody Marks is probably going to average that 7 to 8 range with his receiving. And then if he happens to get a touchdown, then you're in that 12, 13 point range. So it's definitely league dependent, but with PPR becoming more of a standard, I have to lean towards Woody overall.
Fair enough. What about you, Ryan? Where do you fall on these two guys?
Honestly, I think I'm leaning the other way a little bit more towards Ollie Gordon. I know there's a kind of a clear path for Woody Marks, but there's a lot of average mouths to feed there. And I don't know how much better he's going to be right away. Nick Chubb, unfortunately, is going to get his match, carries his needs, they're going to hold up. Damian Pierce is going to get annoying ones. And Houston really didn't run that much last year comparatively. And I think it's going to be harder for me to get the opportunity. And then the Miami backfield, A-Chain's already a little bit beat up. And there's not really much competition. I think his path to being the lead back is a little bit quicker because there's less people there.
Yeah, I think I agree with that as well. I think if you're looking for a 1 week fill in, I think it is Woody Marks. I do think he has higher upside, but if you're looking for like a long term season type thing, I think Ollie Gordon is the way to go because of what you just mentioned. A-Chain is a guy that gets hurt. He is a smaller guy, and I don't think there's any scenario unless there's like a catastrophe in Houston that Woody Marks becomes the lead back, right? Like he's always going to have that sort of passing down role. If God forbid, Nick Chubb and Damian Pierce kind of went down, I think they would sign another guy to complement Woody Marks. Whereas I think Ollie Gordon, if Achane goes down, they could put Ollie Gordon in that lead role, I believe.
And
Go ahead.
he's not a sexy player at all, but Dare Ogunabali. I had Dara. Yeah, I completely butchered. He still had 28 targets last year.
Yeah,
with Joe Mixon playing majority of the games, like they trust him in that third down, that passing role.
Yeah, fair point.
God, I butchered that name. I could hear it 50 times and not get that one right. I apologize.
I get that.
I know you're watching.
He was one of my DFS heroes, so I get his name right all the time. I picked him in one of my DFS tournaments, and he won me a lot of money. So he's got a place in my heart. All right, let's get back to the wheel here and see what we got coming up next. All right, we're sticking with the running back theme here. Caleb Johnson currently listed as the RB3 for the Steelers on their unofficial depth chart. It was all over Twitter today that he's listed as the RB3. And, we kind of thought he might be the RB2, maybe even the RB1. Obviously, Jaylen Warren has the RB1 spot. I'm going to go to you, Swails, on this one because, he was a popular pick in a lot of dynasty drafts. People, picking him up thinking he's going to have a huge workload. Do you believe he actually is the RB3? And if he is, do you think he overtakes the number 2 spot eventually?
You know what? I'm honestly not entirely surprised by this. It's classic Arthur Smith, number one, but also number two. We saw some issues with Caleb being able to read his blocks during the preseason. That say what you want about Arthur Smith, he actually really does run a pretty unique, complex run scheme, and oftentimes Caleb was running into the back of his blockers and just missing the holes altogether. And I think a lot of people forget about Kenneth Gainwell as a signee there. Obviously held down a role in Philly. Philly loved him like a son, on third down rolls and everything. And I wouldn't be surprised if he retains that type of role, with the Steelers. So, and obviously, we just got Jaylen Warren re-signed. He had gotten a second round tender, early in the offseason. So it was very clear that the Steelers were pretty high on him. So I would not be surprised for them to lean on them. It will probably be a Warren-Caleb rotation, but yeah, not surprised to see Caleb come in third.
Fair enough. Ryan, you're there in Pittsburgh. So what are you hearing on the radio and stuff?
So the Steeler way has always been trust your vets, let the young guys work their way up. Like it's how it is. It's how Tomlin is. We have such a track record of this. Other thing is one thing it's always talked about in fantasy football. People forget is the backup running back, number 2 running back, number 3, where Kenneth Gainwell probably is going to be the third down back. But if Jaylen Warren gets hurt, Kenneth Gainwell stays the third round back, and Caleb takes over as the RB1 on that team with work on with Gainwell still coming in on third down. I think that's how we're viewing it. It may not be immediate impact. We might be disappointed at first. It could be more of a hold for dynasty or a backup plan season long. But as of now, it's going to be harder to get on the field other than spells. And like I said, Gainwell's a solid change of pace back and a great third down back. It's going to be that split. He's going to be backup.
This has similar feelings as the New York Jets backfield with the 3-man rotation and that kind of stuff. I genuinely would not be surprised to see Jaylen Warren kind of be the between the 20s guy. You see Kenneth Gainwell, in the 2-minute drills and on third downs. And I guess we hope that Caleb would then get the inside the 5, the red zone carries if, he can show reliance in that atmosphere. But he seems like the hammer. It's just a matter of if he can take on that role for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the reading block thing, and there was a TikTok that I watched where they were breaking down film in preseason, and they showed this gaping hole on the cutback lane for Caleb Williams, and he runs the opposite direction right into the back of his blockers. Did not see the hole at all. So yeah, if he can't fix that, he's gonna have a hard time getting on the field for sure.
It's preseason of learning, and you're not gonna your line may or may not be doing what they're. It's early for that.
Yeah,
but it's still pay attention to.
Absolutely. Let's see what our next topic is. All right. Well, you mentioned Breece Hall. This one is from an anonymous member on Facebook because he said his league mates might be in there, so he didn't want to put his name onto it. He drafted both Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. How hard should I be working to move one of them, or should I not worry about it and just keep both of them? I'll go to you first on this one, Ryan. He's got Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, both pretty high draft picks there. Are you okay with both those guys on the Jets?
I mean, you normally want good pieces on good offense. I don't think either one of their values are gonna net you what their upside could be. Like as a community, it seems like we're fairly low on Garrett Wilson. We've seen his ADP kind of plummet, where you're getting him 4th, 5th round. Breece Hall, same thing. He's fell out. I think their value's at an all-time low. If you get I'd hold on to him. If you want to move one, wait till a hot game or something and trade who has it. But I'm not in a rush to get rid of them. They're both solid players and won't give you fantasy production. But right now, it's not the time to sell them because their inherent value is not there yet.
Yeah. And you mentioned Breece just a minute ago and this 3-headed monster, Swails. What are your thoughts here with Breece and Garrett Wilson? I'm going to assume that Breece isn't his RB1. It's probably his RB2. So what are your thoughts here?
So to be honest with you, I was writing about Breece Hall last season on Fantasy Points, and a lot of us data charters were talking about how he didn't look right. He hasn't looked right. That burst is not quite there. I personally am incredibly scared off of Breece Hall. I've traded him away in most of my dynasty leagues. I did a trade where I traded Breece Hall for Josh Jacobs and Jacoby Myers. I think that there are people who value the namesake, and for that, I would be trying to trade them around, and I would be trying to, depending on the format that you're playing on, you could potentially manipulate the ADPs to your favor. So what I mean by that is in a lot of places, Garrett Wilson is a third, fourth round pick. And in a lot of redraft, if that's what this is, there's a good chance you might be able to move Garrett Wilson for a Tatora McMillan. If I could do that, I'm doing that, hands down. Same thing with a Breece Hall. If you're looking at ADP, if I could move Breece Hall for an RJ Harvey, I'm probably looking to do that. I would rather get invested in better quality offenses and get away from the potential landmines. And most of those guys that I just mentioned are going well below where Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, you potentially got them.
Yeah, that's a good call. You're right. And, the ADP wise, that does make a lot of sense for sure. I'm with Ryan too. Like, this is not a great offense that you want a ton of exposure to. It'd be different if it was like a high powered offense. I'd be curious to who else was on the board when you drafted, whatever one you drafted second, who you passed on to get that guy when you drafted him. But yeah, I'm with y'all on that sense too. Is it,
like a Kenneth Walker? Could you move Breece for Kenneth Walker? Like, I don't usually like doing the same position trades, but I feel like I would probably change my bet if I could.
Yeah, I think even tearing down to RJ Harvey, like you mentioned, you could probably get RJ Harvey plus if it's a redraft league for sure, because RJ Harvey is not even listed as a starter right now. You move Breece and you get something else too. Maybe one of the veteran running backs that go kind of late that'll have an early season role, and then you hope that Harvey kind of takes over that late season role. So yeah, I like that a lot. All right, let's see what we got here. We got a sit start here, so it's half.
Can we respin?
Oh God,
let's respin.
I hope this is Dynasty, and I hope you're trying to just rebuild.
Brent Burns is asking, who do I start, Javonte Williams or Travis Etienne? So yeah, a pretty brutal choice there. No other context other than it's half PPR. We don't know if it's Dynasty or redraft. I'll go to you first, Ryan.
I'm going Etienne out of these because they're at least not playing against the Eagles and that defensive line who good running backs disappear against. But oh my gosh, I hope there's another option. Like, this is a flex and there's a wide receiver or somebody else. But I think Etienne at least has a big game threat and has that ability to break a big player too and rip one off. So you can go and hope for that. But
yeah,
boy.
Pretty ugly. What about you, Swails? What are your thoughts here?
Maybe this is an 18-team guillotine league and he just needs a 1 week flex starter. I don't know. Man, this breaks my heart because obviously as a Bronco guy and I was a diehard Javonte Williams person. I was one of those people taking him at the back end, back into first rounds, beginning of second rounds in dynasty leagues a couple years ago. But he's just not the same guy. Hasn't been the same guy since the injury. Has absolutely no burst. That being said, I still have to lean on Javonte for week 1. Miles Sanders, Jadon Blue, they're both kind of injured. Javonte at least showed the ability to catch passes. He didn't go anywhere with them, but he showed the ability to catch passes. ETN necessarily, I mean, it's a 3-headed monster. I'm honestly leaning for Tank Bigsby as like the highest scoring back out of the Jaguars for week 1. So just at the potential of him to maybe fall into the end zone and get a couple, maybe go 4 for 20 in the receiving yard, I'd lean for Javonte.
All right, so I guess I'll be the tiebreaker here. And I was originally leaning ETN because of the matchup, but listening to you, Swails, you kind of swayed me a little bit because you're right. Tank Bigsby is there. And if you're looking at sort of competition behind him and who could split carries and who might get hot, Javonte does not have that, right? I mean, it's going to be Javonte pretty much the whole game, and he can catch passes out of the backfield. Again, it might be 4 for 20, but that's still 6 points, and I'll take that over whatever ETN might give you. So I'll go Javonte as well, even though I was originally going to go ETN because of the matchup, but Javonte is the call.
Dallas is so gross.
Yeah, it was a gross one for sure. And
God, that running back, that backfield's bad.
yeah, for sure. All
Hmm.
right, let's get to our next topic. This one is from Austin Abbott on Twitter, and he's talking about sneaky wide receivers that could hit 1,000 yards this season. And I'm just going to name the guys, and then I'm going to go to y'all, and y'all tell me which one you think is most likely to hit the 1,000 yards. So we got Josh Downs, Ricky Pearsall, Emeka Mbuka, Roma Dunze, Devontae Smith, or the aforementioned Tet McMillan. I'll go to you first this time, Swells. Of those guys there, who do you think is the most likely to hit 1,000 yards?
1,000 yards for me. I think it's pretty easily Tet McMillan, excuse me, however he wants to be pronounced. But I think with him and obviously everything that's falling apart with the Carolina wide receiver room, we've got Hunter Renfrow, getting released and joining back on the team, and now is becoming their wide receiver 3. He should easily. It doesn't make sense to me why he's going so late in redraft leagues. He was consistently my 102 in dynasty rankings, and ahead of Travis Hunter as the wide receiver 1, all of that good stuff for the rookies. And I mean, we've seen it multiple years in a row where a rookie comes in and becomes a top 12 performer. He's got every opportunity to exceed, over 30% target share. So I think it's pretty easily McMillan.
All right, I love it. Going with the rookie there. What about you, Ryan? The guys again.
I mean, Tet's the fun one. The boring answer, if we're just talking who can go 1,000 yards, is Devontae Smith. He's done it 2 of the last 3 years. The only reason he missed it last year is because he missed 4 games. If he's on the field and healthy, he's going to hit it. He had 833 in 13 games last year. It's a boring answer, but I also don't consider him sneaky.
Yeah, fair. Maybe he shouldn't have been on the list for sneaky because you're right. I mean, he's pretty much hit 1,000 yards, 2 out of his 3 years.
Honestly, I think 4 of the receivers on this list could hit 1,000 yards.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think Mbuka could do it.
Yeah,
I think Rome, I think Tet, and I think Devontae can all do it.
See, and I think Ricky has a chance, and I bet Geoff has something to say about that, but I think Ricky with the lack of target share. I mean, Kittle's the biggest target hound that he has to compete with.
Juwan Jennings just got a raise as we were filming.
I was going to say that breaking news: Juwan Jennings just got an extra $3 million thrown into his deal per year with some incentives, I guess. So yeah, Ricky, I like Ricky Pearsall, and I hope you're right. I hope that he does have that. He showed it last year at the end of the year that he's actually a fairly good player. So I hope he's able to do it. If I'm picking one out of these guys, I'm going to remove Devonta Smith because I think he's the one that.
It's not fair. It's so boring and not fair.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to go Roma Dunze. I really think Roma Dunze has taken over the number 1 spot there in Chicago. They're using DJ Moore like out of the backfield. They're trying to find creative ways to get him the ball. You don't do that with your number 1 receiver typically. Typically, that's the number 2 receiver. I think Roma Dunze is going to be the one getting all the targets. I think he's overtaken DJ Moore in that offense, and I like a Dunze a lot this year.
Say it with your chest, man.
Yeah. I've got Dunze in all my leagues pretty much.
Honestly, I like the Dunze pick a lot. He had a good year last year, which we didn't really talk about when they're throwing the ball with no offensive line.
Yeah.
Now
I'm just so in on Loveland. I'm just so in on Loveland that I think it's going to be tough. But I love the flag plant. That's a hot take. I don't feel like there's very many people beating the drum on Rome.
I don't think it's that. Honestly, I don't think it's that hot. I kind of agree with that to an extent.
I guess time will tell for sure.
I think Cole's Loveland can be more touchdowns and that like middle of the field, and they can. But all 3 of those players can produce.
Yeah,
like to be fantasy relevant.
Agreed. All right, we got a couple more topics here. I don't know if we'll get to all of them or not. Oh, here
I was wondering if we were going to escape Hunter here.
Yeah, Travis Hunter listed as a starting wide receiver and listed as a backup cornerback. What are you expected from Travis Hunter? I know we've talked about it all off season, ad nausea to some point. Now we know at least he's a backup cornerback, so he's not going to be a full-time cornerback. At least we don't think so. I'll go to you first, Swails, because since you kind of already reacted to it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm nervous about getting myself in trouble here. The main thing that I worry about with Hunter is just flat out the route share. We can argue about the talent and whether or not he has the nuances of playing professional wide receiver and all of that stuff. I'm still in the camp that he should have been a cornerback. He was deserving of the number 2 overall pick as a defensive back. He has incredible ball skills and all of that kind of stuff. From an offensive perspective, I mean, flat out, we just need to see the route share. Like, if we want him to contribute from a fantasy perspective, I mean, just this is the stat that's probably going to get me in trouble. But when you look at players like that run, around 60 to 70% route share, you're looking at players like Jaden Reed, who ran 69% of the routes, who equaled 9 expected fantasy points per game. I hate to say this, but Jonnu Smith, he ran 60% of the routes and had 11.1 expected fantasy points. Those were your top 2, receiving yardage leaders with, under 70% route share. So can he eclipse that? I'm super skeptical, and I don't know if I believe it.
Fair enough. Ryan, where do you follow Travis Hunter?
First off, I want to say I fully agree he should have been a corner, not a receiver. Like, it's so much harder to find an elite corner than his receiver. But that's a whole different conversation for a different day. He scares me a lot because we're talking. Brian Thomas had what? Was it 1,400 last year? Off the top of my head. And so Travis Hunter's going to be the number 2 receiver there, which is going to hamper on an offense that struggled a bit. And he's going to be trying to play both ways. It just doesn't. And it's out of necessity because they don't have the receivers to do it. But you're going to be gassed. It's going to be exhausting. I think there's going to be one side picked by the end of the year. And he scares me. I have 0 shares of Hunter. And I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong because I think it's super cool. And I think he's an elite athlete and fun player to watch. But I'm steering so clear, man.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ryan. I have 0 shares of him as well, and I do hope I'm wrong.
I'll gladly take the L. Gladly.
Yeah,
I got best ball shares just so I can say I've got something, but I 0 dynasty. 0.
I don't even have best ball.
You don't even have him in best ball, Ryan?
I didn't think I have him in best ball. I just hated where he was going in all drafts. I just didn't have him.
He was going high. He was getting the hype. People knew the name, so they were drafting him pretty high for sure. You had to reach for him if you wanted him.
I think I'm in 0.
6th round. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna get a real God-given 0 on him, and I'm okay with it.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's get to our next topic. Another sit-start question here. He's got in his flex either Deebo Samuel or Aaron Jones, and it is half-point PPR. We'll go to you first, Ryan.
This isn't even a question. It's Aaron Jones. Why do we hate Aaron Jones? He killed it last year. They're protecting a young quarterback. He's going to be dump off. He had 1,500 scrimmage yards last year. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Deebo may or may not be out of shape and on a new offense with an established wide receiver 1. Aaron Jones is an absolute workhorse until the wheels fall off. It's not even a question for me.
All right. Swails?
I do got to ask the question because I've been hearing this narrative a lot. Why do we believe that all of a sudden the Vikings are going to have training wheels on their quarterback? Why do we think that all of a sudden Kevin O'Connell is going to change who he is at his core? And all of a sudden, what is JJ McCarthy going to throw the ball like 25 times? I'm not arguing your point, Ryan. It is Aaron Jones. When you
and
start
it's not even not throwing. He still had 255 carries last year.
For sure.
But he also caught 60. He also was targeted 62 times. Like, that's a major dump off, especially with Jordan Addison out.
I mean, we always get way too concerned about this whole goal, who's going to get the goal line work and all of that kind of stuff. Touchdowns are incredibly fluky. We never know. I mean, just look at what Saquon Barkley did, despite giving up, 15 rushing touchdowns to Jalen Hurts and all of that good stuff with the tush push. Like, the fantasy points can still be scored from outside the 5. However, I was curious because there's this consistent narrative, especially as we get closer to the season, that JJ McCarthy is going to have some sort of training wheels on. And we've seen Nick Mullins throw 40 passes. We've seen Josh Dobbs. We've seen Sam Darnold come back from the grave. I don't understand why everybody is so skittish, I guess, of who the Vikings selected number 11 overall last season.
Yeah.
I by the way, not afraid of him. I liked him coming out.
Yeah, Ryan was all in on.
I was using you to prove a point.
No, I said I don't think it's training wheels. I just think he's super involved in that offense.
Yeah, he is.
And they play off of the play action and movement because you don't have that many carries with your running back and have it not being a huge part of the offense.
I mean, you're still talking about 50 to 60 rushing yards with 3 to 4 catches. That's flex territory all day long. Yep. RB2 flex territory all day long.
Absolutely, for sure. I like the call, gentlemen. I'm going with Aaron Jones as well for all the reasons y'all just said. I will say I do like Debo. Obviously, I live in the Washington, D.C. area. Debo's a former 49er. All reports say he is back to being his explosive self. So if he could be that guy, look out.
He's why they traded B-Rob. Because of Debo, is that why?
It is. It actually is part of the
yeah.
Debo getting carries out of the backfield for sure. Debo has looked really good in camp. So, but I think for week 1, you're going with the safer bet, Aaron Jones, who will have a bigger workload for sure. All right, let's see. We got time for maybe one more. This one is from Sean Michael on Facebook. He says, what's everyone's thoughts on James Cook this season? I have him, and I'm contemplating moving him, or should I stay put? Ryan, what are your thoughts on James Cook?
I mean, James Cook got his money. He got paid. The team trusts him. It's a high-powered offense. Don't overthink it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's involved in the passing game. He's their leading rusher. He's going to get tons of red zone opportunities because that offense is going to score a ton of points. He's a great fantasy asset. I think his value is really good right now. Honestly, I think he's a buy, not a sell.
Fair enough. Swails, you fall in the same category?
1,000%. James Cook is starting to get into that like Josh Jacobs kind of like namesake territory where it's, uber productive, but when you draft him, everybody looks at you and is like, why did you draft that guy? Because this is like so boring. And I think we're so often forget about seasons past, right? Like with James Cook, we were really upset in 2023 about how limited of a touchdown scorer he was, right? He had 2 rushing touchdowns and over 200 carries, and everybody was talking about how he couldn't score a touchdown. And then obviously the next season he goes for 16. And now all off season long, we've all been arguing that he can't repeat and that it was a fluke and all of this kind of stuff. Well, what if it is just a little bit of a mix of the middle, right? So if we do a little bit of quick math, James Cook had a 7.7% touchdown rate in 2024, but he had just 0.8% in 2023. So if we kind of bridge the gap there at about 4.5% at 210 carries, then we're looking at about 9-10 touchdowns. So like all of this fear and stuff, I mean, he still is absolutely equipped to get double-digit rushing touchdowns, and that doesn't equate with the passing. I mean, if you watch Hard Knocks, Josh Allen absolutely adores this guy. They're best of friends. So you can't buy that relationship. So yeah, James Cook, go get him. Trade Breece Hall.
Yeah. Sign me up for 1,200 scrimmage yards and 8 to 10 touchdowns all day.
100%. Yeah, I think there's a world where both things are true, right? Where he regresses from last year, but he's still really good at fantasy. So, yeah, that's very good points. And I like that you have the stats to back it up, too, there, Swails. Good stuff. All right, gentlemen, that wraps up the Fantasy Roulette. We're going to do our prop bets next.
Prop bet of the week.
All right, let me get the screen pulled up here. And we're going to change the way we do it. Last year, we kind of picked our own. This year, I'm picking 3, and then I'm going to just ask you of those, are you going higher or lower? And the first one is for you, Swails. And I had a theme this week. It's all rookies. It's an all-rookie parlay. So we're going Ashton Genty at New England, higher or lower than 70.5 rushing yards. What are your thoughts here, Swails?
Sneakily, I like the Patriots defense if you're needing to stream a defense, when week 1 and stuff. But I do like Genty to just creep over that mark right around the 75 to 80 rush yard mark. If it's actually dropped down to 67, that's even more beautiful.
Yep, it has dropped down to 67.
So I like that a lot more now because I feel like that gives us about a 10-yard cushion from the fantasy points projections. And I think New England's going to be a pretty stout defense. So
yeah, I'm with you on the higher for sure. You know, we talk about competition in the backfield. He doesn't really have any of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's getting all the workload, and they're going to want to run the ball. So yeah, I think and the fact that it dropped down makes it even better because when I wrote it yesterday, it was 70.5. Now it's 67.5. So a much better line. All right, Ryan, your prop is Emeka Mbuka at Atlanta, higher or lower than 5.5 receptions.
So I'm going to take the under on it. I love Abuka at this point, but I think first game, they still have Mike Evans. They have good running backs for passing, catching the ball. He's going to be in that Godwin role, supposedly, at this point. And that's normally that 5 to 7 catch range while Evans is out there, but he's still not fully trusted as this security blanket that Godwin is. So I'm going to say under for now.
Yeah, it did drop. The line did drop to 4.5, but I went ahead and put it at 5.5 and did the lower on that one because I agree. I think he is a rookie. This is his first game. I don't know if he's going to be able to get 6 catches on his first game. I think Mike Evans is going to be targeted pretty heavily, and I don't know if Mbuka gets up to the 6 catches. He might have 4 or 5, but I don't think he gets up to 6.
Yeah, 4.5. I'm a little. If it was, I'd struggle a little bit more, but I don't love it at that.
Yeah, 5.5 is a bit steep for me as well. All right, and sticking with the rookie theme, the last one is Cam Ward, higher or lower than 190.5 passing yards. Let me find the prop bet here. Oh, it's actually dropped as well. It's now at 186.5. So we'll keep it at the 186.5. And I was going to take the over initially, and I'll take the over now. And I think some of it could come down to garbage time. I think there's going to be a pretty large lead for the Broncos going into the fourth quarter. They're going to kind of let off the gas, and I think he gets a bunch of garbage time points, which still counts for fantasy. And I think he gets over that 186.5 yards there. So that wraps up the bet of the week. Let me run it back real quick. We got Ashton Genty higher than 67.5 rushing yards. We got Emeka Mbuka lower than 5.5 receptions. And we have Cam Ward higher than 186.5 passing yards. Let me drop my $5 on there. $5.
Yeah, go get those Genty and Cam Ward lines because they are a few yards off of where most of your other books are at. So
yep.
that Cam Ward one is a good 8-yard discount right now.
Wow, good stuff. All right, now it is time. We haven't done this, I don't think, all summer long, but it is time.
It's been a long time. I missed it.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, Swails. You asked me when you saw the show sheet, are we doing it this week? And
yeah,
absolutely we are doing it this week. So give us your Forgotten Fantasy Player hints.
All right, so last time I did this with you, you guessed it way too fast. So I really challenged myself on some of the clues. And one of the clues I will give you is this one is close to the vest and close to my heart. All right. So this player had a 6-year stretch where he had over 140 plus targets.
Oh.
I don't know if I quite want to give you the years yet, but during
Brandon Marshall.
Huh?
Brandon Marshall.
No. Good guess, though. Good poll. Within that same 6-year stretch of 140 plus targets, he had 3 years of double-digit touchdowns.
Ooh.
All right.
It's close to his heart. It's got to be the Broncos, obviously. So I'm thinking all Broncos.
Eric Decker.
I will not Eric Decker. I will go ahead and give you that hint. Yes, it is a Bronco. Part of the reason that this is close to the vest is because basically it's been about 10 years since these stats. It was the 140 targets 6-year stretch was from 2012 to 2017. So it was during the stretch when Denver won their last Super Bowl. And his last double-digit touchdown season was in 2014-2015 season, going into that Super Bowl 50 win. Okay, so I think number 4 here. I was personally at this game. He broke the franchise record for receiving yards against the Arizona Cardinals when he had 226 yards in 2004.
Eddie Royal?
Nope, not Eddie Royal.
Ed
See, this is why he's a forgotten player, because I can't believe you guys know the team.
Yeah.
And we're talking about an elite fantasy guy, and you're guessing all around him. It's hilarious.
Ed was probably too early, right?
Who'd you say?
Ed McCaffrey was probably too before that.
I was way early on
McCaffrey
that.
would have been 90s, early 2000s. All right, so he was inducted in 2023. He was inducted into his college's Hall of Fame.
Man,
which was Georgia Tech.
That might help you, Ryan.
Oh my god, I can like picture it in my brain. Is just like.
I forgot he wasn't even a first round pick, because it turns out Calvin Johnson's their only first round.
Demaryius Thomas.
There you go, Demaryius Thomas. The final hint and rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas, was that in 2021 he had a seizure and passed away at 30. I think it was like 33 years old, or something like that.
He was so good.
He was insane. And it was during that time when they had Julius Thomas, obviously Peyton Manning's 50 passing touchdown season. We're coming up on Super Bowl 60 this year, so it's the 10 years since Denver was last in the Super Bowl. That game where he broke the franchise record, I actually got his autograph after the game on my jersey where he signed my chest. So
that's awesome.
My wife was actually getting that authenticated and stuff. And so it kind of all just came around. Last time I was on a podcast with you guys, we did, the West division. So I thought I'd kind of bring it full circle here.
Nice.
Love it.
Great pull.
Good job, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job, Ryan. We didn't get it in one guess this time.
No, I was slow this time.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up the show tonight. I want to thank everybody that watched tonight. We got Steve in the chat. Jamie's there. I saw Kyle in the chat as well. Appreciate y'all jumping in and checking it out. We'll go around the room real quick. Give us your Twitter handle and what you're working on for the season. We'll go to you first, Swails.
Yeah, at Swails_24. It's in the thick of things. We got the schedule going out. I'm going to be doing a bunch of charting. So keep on the lookout for some of our free articles we do. Notes from a data charter. We all, group think, and we call out specific things that we are seeing throughout the season, and it's posted every week, usually on like Tuesdays or Wednesdays following the matchups. And then just one quick shout out. We also just launched our AI tool over at Fantasy Points. So now you can interact with the AI tool and help you pull projections, information from the data suite, start sit questions, trade questions. It's pretty nuclear. And eventually, hopefully, they'll be able to pull from podcasts that we do and be able to pull what we've been discussing. So appreciate the time, guys, as always. I can't wait to jump back on with you, hopefully.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Ryan, what you got going on?
Basically the same old here every Wednesday night. I'm over the Rookie Big Board or Dynasty Big Board podcast. It now comes out Monday nights throughout the season instead of Wednesday, so that's a little bit changed for me. But other than that, that's really about it.
Good stuff. All right. Well, I got a bunch of things to kind of plug. So me and my daughter's podcast is going to be starting tomorrow, actually. We're going to be doing the I Am No Jedi podcast, which for Star Wars with my daughter. And then Friday, me, Tim, and Gerson will be back at it for DFS, this same show right here. But from a DFS perspective, that'll be Friday night. And then I wanted to announce this at the very end because I'm going to make a big announcement on our next show. But we're going to be adding an extra co-host to the show starting next week. So I'll tease that. I won't say who it is yet. We'll still have guests on, but I wanted to have a second co-host. So in case we can't get a guest a week, we'd still have 3 of us on the show. It'll still be a great show. So I'll announce the name next week. All right, fellas. That was a great show. For Ryan, for Swails, I'm Geoff, and we will see y'all next week. And good luck in week 1.